Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up? Welcome. I'm Drew Bridewell. We're about to get started here. This is going to be a lot of fun. I know that maybe some of you are just kind of finishing up with Brendan's Transformation Week, which is cool. But today, we're going to start building some practices inside of Growth Day, building and sustaining growth systems. We're going to do this it's going to be a 12-week consecutive growth group. Now, obviously, if you can't attend every session, that's totally fine. I'm going to record these sessions as well so that we can pass them along in the community. And so you can just continually get the support inside the platform when you need it. But I'd love just to, if you can, I would love to know a little bit about you in the chat. If you can just say maybe where you're from or maybe what brought you to the session today. And that way I can also kind of make sure that I pepper some of those answers and demonstrations in the app while we're here today. It's going to be fun. So welcome, Linda. Welcome, Marlene, Emily, Ite, Mercy, Laura, Julie. It's pretty cool. Awesome. Welcome. My name is Drew Bridewell. So I'm head of product and design here at GrowthDay. So I helped founded building the application here and really have been in performance management and learning and design for a better half of my career. And I worked at companies like Facebook, LinkedIn, Envision, the old great lynda.com, if you ever used lynda.com for training. And I've just been really dialed in on performance management and growth. So, Tel Aviv, sweet. Awesome. Nice. Great. And you know what? The way that these growth groups work is people will come in and they'll come in as we go. And which is totally cool. We can just welcome people in as we go, which is sweet. We have a full hour, and it's my goal and objective to make sure that you just feel more confident using the tool, but you also learn a little bit of just growth practices and personal development practices along the way too, so that you can blend these two things together, like a little bit of tools, a little bit of training, a little bit of practice, a little bit of social learning, and mixing all those things together is really just a great recipe for success. And it's gonna just be a blast. I just love this stuff. So Brendan's kind of finishing up his session pretty soon, and then we'll probably have some more people join us. But let's go. All right, I'm just checking in. All right, cool. I'm a personal dev nerd too. I mean, it's probably why I love working for Growth Day, but I also just love the little micro iterations of getting better. Like my background too, y'all, is like I was play baseball. I was a college baseball player and found a love of design and creativity. So I got into the tech industry and then began my journey of just getting better and better every single week and just learning as much as I possibly could through all the tools that we've talked about today that I was just sharing. And I was in the Bay Area. Now I'm actually in Asheville, North Carolina. In the States, and super cool. Welcome. All right, cool. Let me just go into a little briefing of the agenda. So in the agenda, I was talking about what does it take to maintain and sustain a system of growth. Well, the cool thing about this is just right when you start your chat, there's neighborhood construction going on, which is great. Let me close that window. But what does it take to maintain a system of growth and the challenges that can come? Well, I often gravitate to what I would call your rituals, your routines, and your habits. And this also encompasses the systems that you have and the systems that you actually create and you work on throughout the week. So, I would love to actually hear some of your roles and responsibilities, like maybe not the responsibilities, but maybe your roles today. Like, are you a product manager? Are you an entrepreneur? Like, what is your current role? Just so I can base some of the room here today, if you wouldn't mind putting in the chat. Like, I'm head of product and design. I'd love to hear what you do. Okay, cool. An organizational developer and coach. Sweet. Welcome. You're in the right place. That's right. And just keep them coming in the chat. Cool. And then the other thing that we're going to do, besides talking about like how we maintain that system of growth, with the tool, using the tool, like how we might integrate these behavioral changes and sustain them over the entire year. Like, obviously right now we're running like this transformation week, but we're also there's going to be new challenges and new features and new things that will enhance in the product that will also be able to help you stay on track and start like working towards your dreams, your goals, your ambitions, your desires, and just have a community to be able to do that with. And then towards the second half of the talk, I want to just start talking about some of our goals and the things we want to achieve in 2023, and then also how Growth Day will support you. And then obviously, like throughout the entire chat, you can. This is a discussion. It's a safe space. So if you have questions about anything, I want you to feel free to ask me while I'm here, or you can pinpoint me and find me in the community later, and we can make sure that we get your questions answered. So awesome, filmmaker. Yes, event manager. Awesome. So it's cool that I'm also a certified high performance coach. I went through the certification. I'm a CHBC, but I also, run a series of product managers and designers here at the company. And I geek out about this stuff. So let's just dive right into this. And the first things that I would say is like reminder, just to orient yourself in the app, if in case this is the first time you're seeing it. On the left sidebar, right, you have all of your tools and things. If you're in this session, you can even like leave this session, go to your journal, go to your plan, go to your life scores. You can do all that stuff while you're still listening to this chat. You can like literally hit like one on your keyboard, and it will take you to the home page. If you hit 2 on your keyboard, it will take you to your journal. If you hit 3 on your keyboard, it will take you life scores. If you hit 4, it will take you to your plan. 5 is challenges, 6 is learn, and 7 takes you to community. So I didn't know if y'all knew that, which is a pretty cool feature inside of the app. And we call that our mini player, so you can kind of browse around. So even if you are with another growth group and you're coaching somebody, you can also go back and when you're sharing your screen, you can navigate the rest of the app, which is really cool. As far as on the right side of the sidebar, we have chat, notes, and agenda, right? When you're taking notes here, they're going to end up in your repo for all your notes. So any growth group that you attend, you're going to see your notes at the very top of the app, and then all of your notes from your live events and the other things that you experience or you participate in, they're going to also be displayed in your notes section, which is also really cool. So I hear some thanks, Katrina, for sharing that. Let's go. That's so good. Okay, great. And the cool thing about transitioning into a coaching experience is even though I've been coaching for 3 years like professionally, where I'm I have clients and I work with them, but also we are all to a certain degree teachers or coaches to a certain degree with our family, our friends, our team that maybe we support if we're a leader, or even if we're being mentored or coached by somebody else. So it's a really nice little streamway into using Growth Day. But let's just try to stay focused on this one. So let's see here. So just my first question back to you all, and I'll put it in the chat here. Oh, yeah, nice. So what do we think right now? What do we think as a group? What does it take to maintain and sustain are the keywords here, like a system of growth? What do we think and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but when you first think about I need to maintain a system because I want to grow, I want to grow this month, I want to grow today, I want to grow this year. You have goals, ambitions, and things that you're putting inside your plan tool. What are some things that you think about when you think of, I need to maintain and sustain a system of growth? What do you think about today? I'll just pause for a second and give you time to commitment and motivation. Awesome. Keep it coming in. I'm writing mine as well. Structure, yep. What does it take to maintain a system of growth? I'm gonna also I think clarity is also really this month. This actually week is a clarity week for my coaching program, and thinking about how you establish clarity and you consistently connect to clarity, and And it's fun to start with clarity in the first week of January, which is, we're here in January, and we're trying to, we get all this feedback from December coming in. We maybe have all these new ambitions and new things that we really know that we need to really get in the game and really focus on. Oh yeah, really great. So all these responses. Absolutely. So I hope everybody is looking at other people's right now, and you can also put them in the notes section. But like I'm hearing discipline, I'm hearing or I'm seeing commitment, consistent rituals, routines, and habits. But like, how do you know what consistent or structure or systems or routines you should follow? And I think what it comes back down to is really identifying clarity for yourself and what that looks like. So, for example, like, what does success look like for you for across the board? And I like to think about it like when I think of goals, I think of, I'll write this down too. So I think of projects, career. I'm just letting some more people in. So we have project, career, passion, and personal. And oftentimes when I'm coaching people, they're like, Drew, I don't want to deal with four like different types of goals. Well, the challenge with me is if we just focus on one set of goals, we're not looking at our holistic self. And really, you have maybe you've retired or not, you have a career, you have personal goals, like maybe getting super strong and super fit this year. Maybe you have a personal goal of doing that. Maybe you have a passion goal to paint more, to go on more adventures, to bring a little bit more spontaneity in your life, whatever it is. And then you have like project goals, like which are things that, maybe you're getting paid to do, at work. Like for me, I got like a series of projects that I'm focused on for Q1. Like, okay, in Q1, we got January, February, March. What are the things that we're going to accomplish over the next 12 weeks as a team here at GrowthDay? Like, we're really working hard to make growth groups even better. We're also bringing in new improvements across the product to make the, the plan experience better, let me just bring some more people in, just to make things better across the board. So looking at all of the different types of goals that you're trying to create, I think is another thing to do. But for all of these goals that you have, or whatever goals that you want to achieve here in January or February, March, or for the rest of the year, how do you gain more clarity around these things? Or how do you gain more clarity around these things, but how do you create a simple structure that you can come back to, so you know how you're going to move through this work and these new things that you want to do, like with the structure, with the discipline, with the the body businesses being, cool, Paul, and then the for Linda, like the commitment and motivation, like these are all things that everybody's putting in here is brilliant. It's so brilliant. But thinking back to how am I going to show up through these experiences is a great way to start with, one of the systems of growth. So what I like to do is, for clarity, I call it the Big Six. And the Big Six is the 6 big questions that I always really got to know, and I got to have a real clear picture of what these things are. So I'm going to put them in the chat right now too, so you can have them and you can just copy them over into your notes. But the first one is I need to know, here I'm coming back to you. Sorry, it went back. I need to have an incredible awareness of what my priorities are. I need to have an incredible awareness of what my purpose is. And a lot of people struggle with just being able to define, articulate, and write out purpose. So if you've never done this exercise, like, I want to encourage you to, like, just in the notes, like, how would you define and how would you write out your purpose statement of something that's like really important to you? Of, when you look back and you want to, like, maybe write an article or write something about yourself, like what is your purpose? And, that could be just supporting your family and loved ones. It could be, you want to be the best coach in the whole wide world at this specific thing that you do. It could be a lot of different things, but like really dialing in on what that purpose statement is for you. I want to encourage you to do that. The priorities are also, like, just knowing what your priorities are across the board. This is also kind of a big challenge when, you might have, leadership giving you certain priorities, but you don't really know, you just don't really know what they are. You got to continually build clarity around your priorities. The other one that we're going to do is how do you want to identify? So when you're going through and you're thinking about how do I want to identify as a creator, maker, whatever it is that you do, what we often coach people to do is think about like these three words that they can identify with. So for me, my identify words today, like I did this exercise with my 12-year-old son and my wife this past weekend, and we do this on a recurring basis just to build awareness of like, I can hold you accountable, you can hold me accountable. And the cool thing is you can go into the GrowthDay app and create these reminders in the tool, and I'll actually show you how to do that if you haven't yet been able to do that. So how do you identify? And for me, innovative is one, creator is one, inspired is another one, motivated is another one. So when I think about when I think about the growth systems and the things that I'm going to come back to, I need to know how I'm going to show up through these things. And my identity, or how I want to identify, is that I want to be innovative, I want to be a creator, and I want to be inspired and motivated. These are really important to me because these things tap into like a deeper level of, like for me, a deeper level of intentionality. That's how I'm going to show up. So I want you to think about how you're going to show up. You can go over into the plan tool, which I'll show you actually right now. We can do this together. And you can follow me. You can follow me along in this scenario, and you can you're gonna see a mirror here. You can go to the plan. Oh, not the journal. Sorry, the plan. And you can follow along with me because you have this mini player. And here, I'm just gonna create a January plan just so you're not seeing some of this other stuff that I got going on here. So you got a plan in January, but you can come over and set a reminder, okay? And this reminder could be, so I've had some words in the past like create harmony, model, but for this one I'm going to write, innovative. I got, what was my other words? Creator, which I already have create. I'm going to put inspired. And I'm going to put motivated. And yeah, cool. So I want to be reminded of this every day, and I want to get reminded of this at 8 a.m. because that's when I connect to my plan. I execute my plan at 9 a.m., but I connect to my plan. This is part of my morning routine. So you can, when we talk about systems of growth, you knowing your weekly rhythms, you knowing your daily rhythms, you knowing those things is an incredible opportunity for you to dial things in and stay like super laser focused on what's most important to you. So at 8 a.m., I'm going to create this reminder. So now every day at 8 a.m., I'll get reminded of this thing. So let me zoom in here. So you can see every day I'm going to get reminded of this. I could toggle this off and come back to it. And I'm just going to stop sharing and come back to you all over in the growth group. So does that make sense? Like really straight, simple. You can set a reminder. You can be on your way. So that's like how you can identify, and you can do that. The other one is how you want to interact. Oh, so Katrina, this one was not in my January plan because I just kind of quickly created a January plan just so you all weren't seeing all my other plans on the left side. But what I would recommend, you could just do this as a standalone reminder. It doesn't have to be tied to a plan, but you can set reminders inside your plan. But I would just do a standalone plan for how you want to identify who do you want to be this year. That way you have some accountability on am I showing up innovative? Am I showing up as a creator? Am I showing up as an inspired Drew? Am I showing up as a motivated Drew? Those are things that I want to do. Yeah, you got it, Katrina. Nice. The other one is interact. And we're doing these things first as a foundations because we need to have a really strong core of how we're going to interact and show up, and what our priorities are, what our purpose statement is, and also what are our opportunities. But I'll get to that in a second. So interactions. So for my interactions, I want to be present. I want to be energized. I want to be empathetic. If I can spell it. And I want to be intentional. So for my interactions, in my systems, I want to make sure that I'm present, that I'm energized, that I'm empathetic, and I'm intentional with how I'm going to show up with my team, with my family, with my loved ones. And again, we're just building the core foundations of our growth system. And our growth system is, what we define and we design it, we architect it, right? So you can put these things again inside of the reminders. So you just copy, you could write yours in your notes and copy it and go over to the plan section, set a reminder as a standalone reminder, and then put these in here and get reminded at a specific time throughout the day. I really, like, if you're going to do anything today, set these reminders in the app so that you can get notified of it. It's better to do it inside of like GrowthDay's app versus like your phone reminders, primarily because GrowthDay is where all your personal growth lives, right? So you're really organizing that intention within the app. There could be, you could do it on your like reminders on your iPhone or whatever, but it's not organized and tied to all the other things that you're going to get benefit from the GrowthDay app. So I'd encourage you to do that. And you can do that while we're on the call. All right, so we talked about interactions, we talked about identify, we talked about priorities, and we talked about passion, the different types of goals. But now the other one, besides how we want to interact with our friends, with our family, we can be held accountable for those things. The next one is what success looks like. So success. What has success been for you in your career to get to where you are today? Or what would success look like if you were to model these certain words consistently over the rest of the year? And I actually gave you away one of mine, which is consistent. Consistent is one of the major important keywords that I want to be known for, and I also want to be reminded of that's what success is. Being consistent is what has brought me success in my career and my life. So I want to be consistent. I want to be also prepared, and I want to be focused. Like, these three things are my core foundational growth systems for this year. And I just want I want to encourage you to think about what yours are across the board here, right? So what does success look like for you? And keep it super simple right here, because if you go through and you end up writing like a whole page about what success looks like, it's going to be harder to go back and reread that. You just want simple notifications to remind you, and they're little triggers and perspective points to be able to help you get back into the game, so that when you're showing up and you get a reminder at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 p.m., whatever times you decide, that you're getting super intentional about how you're showing up through those days. And after the full year of getting these reminders, you start to really identify and you start to really embody these feelings. And you're like, oh yeah, how could I be a little bit more intentional with these keywords? So I want to encourage you to do those things today. All right, so again, I broke down, let me just make a little, here, I'll paste it into the chat too. So anybody that's new, that's coming, we're talking about growth systems. We're talking about building clarity, and the big six is what I was sharing with you a second ago, which is understanding your purpose, I'm just writing this out, purpose, your priorities, your, let's see here, purpose, priorities, success, interactions, those three, and then the last one, opportunities. I'm not like the fastest typer. I think that's probably why I chose a design field, but that's okay. All right, so the big six. And the last one here, which is opportunities, right? All the things that, and I'm sure you've gone through last month and the couple months before that, you might have had like performance reviews, you might have had meetings with people you manage, maybe family members, and you've maybe done some form of reflection where you're like, I got some work to do this year. I kind of have an idea of what I need to do. And that's probably also why you're here in GrowthDay. Like, you're like, I want to work on my personal development. I care about this. And like some of the people in the group today were like, I'm a nerd about this stuff. And I am too. Like, what can we do together to get better? And what can we do to help expose some of those opportunities so that we can really grow? But like, talking about those opportunities, sharing them with, people that care about you and that, that want to support you, that's a great first step in really also building a strong foundation, a strong growth system around you. But for opportunities, all the feedback that you got, pluck away like 2 or 3 of those opportunities and plug in like, okay, well, those were problems, challenges, frustrations. How can I reframe those into some opportunities for me to focus on in Q1 of this year? Like, thinking about like, okay, well, shoot, this is the first week of January. Let's go. I got 4 weeks in January, and the first one's already almost gone. So what am I doing today? Like, what am I doing today to actually move forward and start working on the opportunities that matter right now? And I always like to have opportunity buckets in almost every one of my projects that I'm working on. So if I got like 4 or 5 projects in the bank and I'm working on those projects with my team, with my family, I will have a series of opportunities ready to go so that I know like, oh, this is something I need to be aware of, but this is something that I can start getting better at and better at and better at. And I just want to also encourage you to have those things in your back pocket so that you're ready just for that improvement. Okay, cool. We've got more people joining. The session just ended over Transformation Week, so we got more people joining, which is cool. And just as a reminder, I am recording the session so that we can reshare this back in the community for anybody that maybe didn't get to join us and watch it. And also, if you have questions and you want to raise your hand, you can bring up. We can get your questions answered, or you can just put them in the chat, which is cool too. All right. So for me, like again, just as a reminder for people coming in, this is clarity. This is for me is clarity week. January is a great month to get super aligned on energy, where you want to spend it, and also where you're going to build. Here, my camera just kind of went here. I'll bring it back. Don't worry. I'll be back. I like it. That's a great look for me. I'm just saying, a frozen face. So when I think about opportunities, if you had any of the feedbacks, and I think you said that you were doing some filmmaking. If I scroll up above a little bit, you're independent filmmakers. So if you think about all the movies or all the projects that you worked on maybe last year, there was things that worked really well, and there was things that could have been a little bit improved or there's ways that maybe even the way that the work got done could have been a little bit better. So when you reflect on those moments, opportunities come up, right? So opportunities are coming up, they're peppering you left and right, and you're like, well, out of all these opportunities or all these problems, how can I reframe those problems into opportunities? Like, for example, like we were always running late in our meetings. We were always chasing like what it is that we actually really need to do in this project, or we were chasing instead of like really ahead and prepared and ready to go. So that's a challenge. We've reframed it into an opportunity, and the opportunity is like, how can we better prepare for these meetings, or how can we better set us up for success, or what would success look like for these sessions in the next run? And then you can come up with like 2 or 3 different opportunities or next level actions that you can take to really improve that next time you go about it. Those are what I would consider like opportunities. And the same thing with fitness. Like say you're not regularly attending your workouts, and why am I not regularly attending my workouts? That's a problem. And then the opportunity is like, well, could I reschedule to another time that meets me where I'm at a little bit better? Or could I get a peer that can work out with me at a certain time, so I make sure that I show up for that session? Or should I attend a growth group every week to make sure that I'm focused on some growth this week? I'm going to be doing this session, and it's going to be different and I'll be working in different categories and topics for the next 12 weeks. So like, for example, you just want some accountability to come through and work on your personal development, come into Growth Day an hour or 2 every single Thursday for the next 3 months, for the first 3 months of the year. Like, then that's an opportunity, right, for you, and you can come in and start working on things. So lots of different ways to look at opportunities, but I tend to do that for all the projects that I'm working on, and then also for each of the people that report to me, or that I manage, or that initiatives that I'm going. I have different opportunities to help them grow as well, and I'm very intentional about like what those things are, so I can make sure that projects are aligned to what they want to grow in. And the same thing for like my family. Like my son is going like he's just learning so much about video editing right now, and about like game development. So like I want to be super aligned with my skills, so I can make sure that I'm like right there in lockstep with him, so that when he's like way surpasses me in his growth for game development and video editing, I can be there also to help learn and grow with him. So that's like an opportunity for me that I don't want to miss. I would just encourage you to think about like, oh wow, there's a lot of opportunities for you too. And where could you find those things? And that really comes from just reflecting, having a little bit more reflection. All right, cool. So again, we're building clarity. We've talked about these six categories. I put them in down the chat at 125. You can see them: purpose, priorities, success, interactions, identify opportunities. These are things that foundationally you're going to come to every single project, every single month. You're going to have things where you're going to have to understand, like, why am I doing this? What are my priorities, like A to Z? What's most important? What's least important? The things that are least important can go a little bit to the side. What does success look like? How am I going to interact through this moment? How do I want to be as a person through these moments? And then what are the opportunities for me to grow throughout this entire experience? So we're good there. We're solid there. But guess what else we need to do? Oh, yeah. Oh, cool. Itay, did you still want your hand raised, or did you get your question answered? Just let me know in the chat. Cool. Okay, good. All right. So now that we have about 27 minutes left, I hope this is helpful and like getting the balls rolling. So you still have something you want to ask? Do you want to ask it in chat, or do you want to come up on stage and ask it in video? You want to ask it on video? Let's do it. Okay, here it comes. Let's go. And then we'll pivot back into, so there we go. Just unmute yourself as you come up, and we'll get this show going here. All right. And if anybody else also has any questions, so just unmute your mic too, Tay, and maybe tell me how to pronounce your name right if I didn't say it right. And then we'll keep this party going. But here we go. Okay, cool. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thanks for showing up today. How are you?
I'm great. So thank you very much for all the value you provide, and I really love this concept of opportunities, and I'm feeling like I have this urge to ask this question because I feel like I haven't a part answer to it, and I have like a very young daughter. She's 1 year old, and I feel like it just came as a storm to my life. And it like kind of scrambled everything. All the routines I had, all like waking up early, suddenly I woke up early and she's already awake, so I don't have the time that I had like 5 a.m. to work on my stuff, and like everything is crumbled, and I feel like any plan I make, like getting shoved off. And sometimes I really like the concept of reframing, and I really like the concept of opportunities, but I just want to raise it as a question to you and maybe to other people. How do you do with that? Like with fatherhood, maybe especially in the early stages, and maybe also in the the stages to come. I guess there are a lot of more challenges to come. And how do you reframe that? Suddenly you don't have you have a quarter of the time you had, and you get no sleep, and suddenly your plans just are getting crushed because this is your priority right now. You have to take care of this creature.
That's right.
Which you love. So through 1 year of experiencing it, I wondered if you have some, take on that.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people in the chat can relate to this if they have had kids, or they are, my son right now is, he's 12, he's going on 13, which it feels like he's going into I feel like he's even 16, but he's not, he's only 12. And, with technology and everything else, there's a whole slew of challenges, but those challenges are definitely opportunities, which I think it's good to know. But for this kind of movement, I'm sure it's very, very difficult in this time, because it's hard to get in a rhythm, as a creator, and you're a content creator, and you have to envision the future. So you need that focused time. You need to be able to go in and have uninterrupted moments so that you can really take care of what you need to take care of. So I'm going to give you like 2 recommendations, and I'd love for people in the chat to also, if they have thoughts and recommendations also, then put them in the chat too to help with this group, and then we can pick these things up as future conversations. So the big things that I would say is the 2 things is right now is it's most important that you and do you have a partner? Ite, or are you doing it all by yourself?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
You do have a partner. Okay. So the first thing that I would say is like getting incredible alignment with your partner on the things that you need around your schedule, around how you can maybe carve off time so you don't just completely stop everything you're doing for your, so that to me is like a rhythm thing. And, when we talked about earlier in the call, we were talking about systems, and systems are really important because they're just, a series of things that you're going to do every day or that you need to tap into every day so that you can keep moving things forward. And if you can't tap into those systems or create those systems for yourself, then you will continually like feel like you're not making advancements like you really want to. And that's really a pain point when, you have a kid and you're trying to like move things forward. So first it's like getting alignment with your partner about like your schedule and the rhythms that you're trying to create. But for a kid, obviously they wake up in the middle of the night, then they're back to sleep. They wake up again in a couple hours or whatever, and then they're back to sleep. So you have to find a place where you can have that uninterrupted moment in time. But you might also have to kind of rejigger your schedule and calendar. Like it could be like every 3 months you have to reshift it and change it because the sleeping behaviors change for kids. They might be sleeping good through the night now, but something could happen and then they're up 2 or 3 times. We dealt with this when Jude was younger. So I think you just need to be really honest with your partner about that time that you need so you can keep moving things forward. But just know like you might only have time to do four things today, 4 things for your film and 4 things for your show. So like those 4 things need to be really clear to your partner, like that you're going to need support to be able to do those 4 things. Carve out like whether you wake up earlier or you go to sleep later to be able to do these things and start building out that system. And for me and my wife, it was like we had to really communicate because I was running businesses and doing things while my son was growing up. And I was always like in this position where I was running big giant projects. So I needed to be present for my team, but I also like wanted to be present for my kid. So you have to really be communicative about what you need and the time that you need to carve out so you can go do the things that you need to go do best. And I think just being super transparent with your partner about those things is a great first step. The second thing is like just giving yourself grace through this challenging time. It's a beautiful thing to raise kids. It's super cool and it's beautiful. But it's making you have to be better at every single thing that you do. You know what I mean? Like you can't be mediocre in things when you have to run a household and have your kid growing up, especially if you're working from home and then they're doing the things. So you have to level up every single thing that you do, and that's like your schedule systems, your highest needle moving priorities, because you're not going to probably have an extra like hour or 2 to go do something that maybe is maybe watch Netflix or whatever. You might have to cut that out and then come back in and be like, okay, I only have four things that I can do today, and I'm going to do it during this window, and then the rest I'm going to be dad. So you got to really dial in the like your priorities, and then dial in your schedules, and then you start like getting better and better and better at all the things that you're doing. I think those are some of the other opportunities. Like for the things that you do that take a lot more time, how can you get better at those specific things? For me and my like something that I could relate to was like I had to get really good at tools. Like so good at tools, like I didn't spend time wasting time with tools. I was spending time doing the work, and it was just like I could do the things with my mind versus like spending time learning about how to use Photoshop or Illustrator or like the tools. So you got to get really good at your craft or whatever it is that you're doing. And I would say, but we could probably talk about little things that you could do, but that's where I would start: schedules and getting really, really focused on the 4 or 5 things that you have time to do, align it with your partner, and just give yourself grace. It's going to be challenging and hard. Like you got a 1-year-old, But you got a team, you got support here. People want to root for you, man. And, you know, build in these reminders so that when you do show up and you're like really tired and exhausted, you still can remember like, this is how I want to be. I'm going to show up great for my family, my kids, and you can get after it. But I hope that was helpful, man.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
I just want to say that I can really, first of all, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to, I really like, I think that reframing and what you said about opportunities is really key here, because I feel like sometimes the rigidity, you know, that you sometimes, you know, I used to be meditating every morning, you know, from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. and now I can't do it. So, you know, I just passed. And it took me time to understand, okay, but you don't have this time now. So you'll do it after. Do it after breakfast. You'll do it after, but still do it because you know how important it is for you to be focused.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel sometimes for this period of time, it's like kind of, you know, discipline, but it's kind of, you know, I would say like fluid discipline. Like,
yeah.
Like getting into understanding that life happens and you have to kind of adjust to it, at least at this phase of time.
Yeah.
I think that one of my challenges sometimes is, you know, committing to deadlines to people. You know, I have a producer that I need to, you know, to bring stuff to, and sometimes just, you know, but I was sick for 1 week. What can I do? And my, you know, wife is also an achiever. She's also, so it's kind of like sometimes you get thrown off, and I think that what you learn is how to get yourself always back to track and still be fluid. Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't meditate this morning. I will do it later. It's kind of getting yourself back to track and not like be rigid.
Oh, this is such a really good discussion. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to jump over to my plan real quick. I'm going to go to my daily planner because I think like when we talk about, let me see, let's see, daily planner. Okay. So can you all see my screen right now? It might be kind of small. I mean, I'm seeing like, can you see my screen? Yeah. So when we talk about systems, right? Because this is about also like leveraging, like how do I leverage when we have like challenges like this where we're really trying to stay focused, when we get thrown off our game and we got to come back to the game, we got to get back on track. These things happen all the time, right? We have, you know, family gets sick, or, you know, we have a bad week of work and we feel like distraction, whatever it may be. When you feel that distraction, I want you to come back to these big 6 questions and really like just meditate on these 6 questions that I put in the chat, but also come back and think about like, if you were going to architect a daily like ritual or daily themes of things that you focus on when you come into like your week, it's not just about like having a list of 30 things that you know you need to do. It's about thinking about where those 30 things fit into your themes of execution. So, for example, if you're trying to execute like your films and your video, like your plans and videos, and you're trying to get things to producers, if you can bucket a window of time where you know that 3-hour window is where you're going to crush, you're going to get after it, and then you can make sure that you can have that time. But again, you got to let your team and your partner and other people know that that's the time that you really need to execute this. Then you have your, you know, potential, like your top 3 priorities of the day, which is something that we also have been teaching in the high performance planner, which before we had the app, Brendan had the high performance planner as the top 3 priorities of the day, the top 3 things, you know, top 3 people or persons you need to reach out to. Those are still really good foundational things that you want to build into your discipline, or like the mindset that you need to win today. The one thing maybe that you're grateful for, because maybe, you know, when you're having a stressful week, you don't really grateful for anything. You're just really frustrated. But, you know, you can bring back into the I'm grateful for that I got to eat food today. I got to go for a workout. I got to go walk around the block, you know, especially during COVID when we couldn't do a lot of things, like just walking around the block was such an amazing thing. You know, thinking about how you bring in these other disciplines that really help you. And I would just encourage you all to really, if you were to write down like the top, and you can even just take a screenshot of this and duplicate it and just like rewrite it. Think about the top things that you're going to do every day, non-questionable, not like you're just going to do these things, and they're going to help you feel connected to your intention. They're going to help you feel connected to your plan, your greater plan. And then, you know, you got to really understand like, okay, well, Monday through Friday, I need to really identify my rhythms Here, I'm going to stop sharing. I need to really identify my rhythms so that I am like not wasting my time trying to figure out where to go, but I just can fall back into my rhythms and things that I'm really trying to do. I do have a really fun graphic for this, and let me just go bring it up really quick. And if anybody else had any other and I do this around, let's see, action planning. This is one of my things. Boom, 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 boom. So I'm going to bring this up really quick. But if anybody has any other questions inside, I'm going to check the time too. We have 13 minutes, which is cool. We're still doing good.
I'm going back to schedule.
Okay, my friend. Thank you so much. Awesome. That was a really great discussion. So there's two things that I typically do, and I'm going to show one of them right now. And I'm going to spend probably like 2 minutes of this because once I go into Keynote mode, I'm not going to be able to see all of you. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to open up Keynote. And the cool thing about this is I'm going to share two things. And so I'll spend 2 minutes on each of these, and I'll go really fast. The first one is what I call a growth loop. The growth loop is important when you're actually building systems and you're thinking about all the things I was just talking about. You still got to be able to figure out what your system of growth is every single week, so that you're spending time in the areas that are actually going to move the needle for you. Now, for example, if you've got these distractions and these things coming up that are really blocking you and getting in your way, you're going to have to find a way to get back into your loop, because you get distracted, things happen, and that's just fine, but we got to be able to get you back into the loop. So here, I know you can probably see it now. So up in the top left, we have reflect. Down the very bottom left, we have take action. In the far bottom right, we have training. In the top right, we have learning. So what I've developed here is, like, when I think about all the things that I need to tap into every single week so that I can be the best Drew that I can be, I'm going to fill in these blocks. And these are the things that are most important to me. So in reflection, I'm journaling in the GrowthDay app every single day, and I'm benchmarking with life scores. This is really important because to know how you're progressing week over week, you got to have some sort of anchor to know, like, oh man, I'm scoring a 70, 80, 90, I'm good. If I'm scoring a 50, 40, 30% in my life score, then I know I need to recalibrate what I'm doing so that I can start feeling better on my dailies. The other thing is I have one-on-ones with people that I'm coaching, but one-on-ones with people that I'm getting mentored by, and I'm making sure that I'm using those one-on-ones, those meetings with people that are really going to help me grow. Like, I'm using that time. Like, this could be even considered a one-on-one, like me and you, as we're going through the next 12 weeks. Like, what are the moments where you're going to come together and really have super intentional growth moments where you can have some just questions and thoughts about how you're going to do and get better. The other thing is I have these weekly status updates. These are weekly write-ups that I put in a Google Doc, and then I end up sharing it, with my leadership team. But these are things that, I answer 5 or 6 questions, and these questions are like an anchor in me in a journal of how I'm advancing things, what I'm learning, what I'm growing in, what are my struggles, what are my opportunities, and I have it dialed in. So when I go back and look at the end of the month, I can see all 4 weeks, and I can see what I did, and I can see the answers to those questions. As we move down to the bottom, I still need time. I need 2 to 3 3-hour blocks. 2 to 3 3-hour blocks of time where I can execute work, I can review work, and that I can keep the engine running. And I need that execution time. Down in the very bottom right, I gotta practice, I gotta play, and I gotta participate in things. Like, I was just attending a lot of the sessions from Brennan. I usually attend every single session. And then I need playtime. I need to have some fun. Like, this is a really important part of my life. But I also need to be able to learn and watch things. I need to be able to read things. I need to be able to listen to things. This is a part, like, I was listening to Ed Milet and Rob Riggle this week, or actually like early this week, is like a podcast, and just tapping into other people's perspectives about what they're learning, what they're growing in, what their backstories, where the origin stories, like what's going on. I really like listening and learning that way. And then I have a wellness bucket where I'm like eating, juicing, working out, getting physical fitness. And then I come back down when I finish my week. I do execution outcome, I do planning, and then I have these like priorities where I always know what I'm planning and what I'm prioritizing. And if you want to take a screenshot of this, or if you need like a bigger high-res version of this, I can send it to you. But this is what I come back to all the daggone time, because it's just so critical. It's so critical to have, and I'm going to come back and show you one more visual really quick. Here's the next one. And then I'm going to spend another minute on this one. So what I just showed you was a weekly rhythm. What this is also another way to look at your weekly rhythm for how you do things Monday through Sunday. And you're thinking about, my morning energy, my evening energy. Now, Ate, as you were going through and your son or your kiddo is waking up really, really early, you might have to shift this every day of the week, until you get into some harmony with you and your spouse and your partner to be able to figure out when you can actually do the things that you need to do to help provide for the family. So my mornings are, I like my priorities, connecting my rituals, routines, and how I'm going to integrate these things into the rest of the day. Mondays are like my Monday motivation days. And then I built this kind of like rhythm for me so I know how I'm going to show up throughout the entire week. Now, I want you just to think about your week and think about what your ebb and flow is. Like, are you front loading your meetings in the first half of the week so that you can do execution towards the end of the week? Or are you in choppy meetings all week long and then you don't feel like you ever actually have a break? Got to really be mindful of how you spend your time, but actually how you show up during those moments. So these are two little graphics that I tend to change and iterate on and work through. So we talked about like the big six. We talked about like things to maintain. We talked about using the reminders in the plan tool. So be sure, if you like some of these notes in the chat, go ahead and copy them over to your notes section so you can keep them. Because once this group is over, the chat will go away. And I loved what we saw about discipline and the combination of fluidity. And I think Britta had said this really cool thing around the fluid discipline. It's really cool, a really cool way, especially for parents to really think about this. But copy some of these notes from other people in this group today and put them in your notes so you can have them. I think this is awesome. And bringing in some support for y'all. Yeah, that's right. 100%. Like, isn't it? It's just a blessing that we get to be here together today, but we also get to just share things that work for us and things that we can do to improve, reframe some of those problems into opportunities. But what I'd love to do in this last bit is I would love to just learn a little bit more about you and learn about some of the ways that some of the questions you have about Growth Day, some questions you have about the tool. Again, every single week we're going to do this, and next week we're going to talk about goals specifically. We're going to dive into those passion, project, personal, and career goals and breaking those things down. It's going to be tons of fun if you want to join us. And then we'll also still talk about how to do it inside the tool. But let me hear some of the questions. Like, what things are you currently struggling with the app? Or is the app serving you, with the journaling, with the planning, with the, challenge? We have another challenge that's going to be coming up, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be pretty epic. Brendan's hosting it. It's going to be super fun. Reminder of the community. You can still use the community when you have just like off the wall questions and things that you want to get some clarity around or other opinions. You can post it in the community, and our team is monitoring the community, but we also have a community that's monitoring the community. That's what community is all about. So a lot of great people in there sharing their insights and knowledge. Right? It's so good. Later this week we have another great session, or actually next Wednesday, we have a really great session coming up with Koya and Lisa Bilyeu on just how to start your dream. Brendan had it, which is already up in the replays. And if you go to the homepage, there's a replay section in the bottom right. It's the third component down from the Daily Fire. And this will be able to link you back to his talk on starting your dream and like building in those disciplines to like what you need to ignite that dream and to maintain it and to work towards it, which is pretty awesome. So in the whole life assessments, I want to I'll actually show you that, Jenny, because you can do this, but maybe you didn't see it. So if you go to your life scores, and you can all go to your life scores right now if you want to. So if you do a score, like I did a score, I did a score yesterday or the day before, I can come in here and I can see my recommendations. If I click this, I can see how to increase my energy. My energy was lower, or I can write a journal entry right in line. So if I click this, I can write a journal entry for that day that I did a life score, and I can reflect and journal about that. I hope that's what you were asking for, but that's another way to do it. So as far as accountability groups, I'm not sure if that was a community-led accountability group, Dana. Like if that was like who was actually hosting that session? Was it Danny? Because Danny's also hosting these other Whoop sessions where we talk about like different ways to attack your goals, and then also there's going to be a lot more growth groups just getting scheduled and initiated inside the product too, so we'll check those out. So yeah, you can go into the life scores and you can journal from there. We got 1 minute left. Let me just catch this chat before we go. Oh, Kim. Yeah, I think Kim's still hosting things. I think she might have just been taking a break and coming back, but keep an eye out for those things. And remember, if you RSVP, you get a notification, you get a reminder for those things. And for me, please, like in the last minute of this, if you enjoyed this session, if you got something out of this, then please share your aha or insight in the community. I'm going to also post in the community a little bit later this video and this, package it up and put it in the community for you. But also, like, let's hear some feedback around what you think could be better, what you're liking about the product or service, and just any questions you have about building more growth systems for yourself. Thank you all so much for joining. This was so much fun. And just want you to know, I'm rooting for you. You have unlimited potential. It's just about tapping into it, staying consistent, and working on it every single day. And you know what? 1% every day it's good. It's good. We're going to build up over the year, and I'll see y'all in the next one.